All right, so shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to start off by saying Brakatham, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the hopefully elect, starting with the 144,000, shalom. All right, so Lord willing, I want to go into the lesson, right? Excuse my voice is kind of cracky, right? But it says, their leader caused them to err, right? And I'm gonna go straight to the precept. When I was watching Elder Apostle from my lesson, inspired me to do this because, this is key in today's time, right? Matter of fact, if I even go there, I'm starting Jeremiah. I'm starting the book of Jeremiah, right? Matter of fact, Spirit, just flowing through the Spirit, so excuse me, I bounce around. I'm gonna start here first, right? Deuteronomy 4 and 6, or first verses 5 and 6, because when you understand, we were given every time I'm finna say something through the Spirit, right? The Spirit bring a precept to me, right? But let's go here, right? Baruch chapter 4, right? And verse 4, it says, "O Israel, happy are we for things that are pleasing to Yahweh are made known unto us," right? Because we was given the righteous path, right? When we go back to Deuteronomy 4 and 6, right? Well, he gave us the laws and commandments, right? He gave us his statutes. He gave no other nation but us, so what? We can walk in that righteousness, right? Be a perfect people unto him, right? Deuteronomy 7:6, we're set apart. How we're set apart? He gave us the laws and commandments not to do the things that other nations had going on, right? He gave us the laws and commandments so we wouldn't err or err in the way these nations we had going on. These nations were sacrificing children, all type of wicked things, right? Making up all those god pantheons, right? Pantheon where they got so many different gods. They serving this God, that God, God for the sun, God for the moon. They doing all type of things, man. Because these are idols. But we was given laws coming from the one true power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? To walk in that righteous way. So let's read right here, Deuteronomy 4 and verse 5. It says, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord Yahweh, my power, commanded me, that you should do so in the land where you go possess it," right? Because when you go into an ancient Canaanites, the Egyptians, right? They had all the witchcraft, that left hand sorcery going on, right? That witchcraft going on. You go to Deuteronomy when it says 18, right? It speaks about that, right? A lot of how we sacrifice children, witchcraft, all type of things, man. And this is where Babylon gets from today, the daughter of Babylon. Right? I'll go back to the Canaanites, right? The Egyptians, those they had that wickedness going on, right? And it says, "Behold, I have taught you statutes, right, and judgments, even as my Lord Yahweh, my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whether you go possess it." Right? It says, "Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations." Right? So this is our wisdom, this is our understanding. Right? So the nations see us, they're gonna say what? "We shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people." Right? As you see right in NLT, the latter part of the precept says, "How wise and prudent are the people of this great nation." Right? Because we was given that righteous way, that righteous path. Right? We was given that righteous path. There's no better way to put it. We was given the things that we supposed to be a perfect people, man. Right? Matter of fact, right? Deuteronomy chapter 7. All right. When you read verses up, when we go into the land, the Most High telling us to destroy all of them. Right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to it right here. Let's go to Deuteronomy 18. Just because I spoke on it. Right? Deuteronomy 18. Right? Right here. So when you read about it, we'll get straight to the point. Verse 9, it says, "When thou art come into the land which Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abomination of those nations." Right? When we go back to Deuteronomy 7 and 1, right? When we go back to Deuteronomy 7 and 1, what he speaks about, right? It says, "When the Lord Yahweh thy power shall bring thee into the land, whether thou go possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Gergesites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou." Right? So he told us when we come into the land, we don't need to do those things that they was doing. Why? Let's go back and read what they was doing. Right? Verse 10, right? It says, "There shall not be found any among you, there shall be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, right, or a observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, right, or a wizard, or a necromancer," right? It says, For all that do these things are an abomination to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And because of these abominations, the Lord Yahweh thy power doeth drive them out from before thee. Right? So what they was doing, I want to read verses 10 and 11 in NLT. It says, for example, never sacrifice your son or daughter as a burnt offering, which they were doing. And do not let your people practice fortune telling, right? Or sorcery, or use sorcery, because they were working that left hand power. Right? Remember when Most High told, Moses and Aaron, when Pharaoh asked, cast your rod down, and turn to a serpent. What did he do? They called Pharaoh called basically people over there, and guess what? Those wizards, in a sense, they was doing a left hand sorcery, because that's a left hand power, man, right? And that's what's in rule today. That's why this lesson we're going into is really hitting in two aspects: the leaders of Israel, they cause it the air, but the leaders, and also Esau, Edom, because why? Esau, Edom follow Jake. These leaders, they follow in the aspect the way that Esau Edom does. This is what they following after. They follow after the way of Babylon. You stagger not from strong drink. You drunken not from wine. Really paraphrasing. Right, Revelation 17:2. Everybody drunken out the fornication of Babylon. Right, the daughter of Babylon, which is left hand sorcery, this witchcraft. There's a left hand power all in one. This wickedness had it went to a high state. And they're in charge. So they got Jake so deceived. You had these preachers. You had these quote unquote supposed to be leaders of these camps. This is how these guys are sellout. You still Most High Christ blessed. Come on, man. Right? Or Gentiles can be saved. Come on, man. Where are you getting that agenda from? Who? Esau, that's the agenda he pushing. That's that deception he pushing. Right? Y'all are causing them to err, and y'all following after Esau, that they causing y'all to err. Right? All right. It says, or use sorcery, or interpret omens, or engage in witchcraft, or cast spells, or function as medium or psychics, or call forth the spirits of the dead. This what Jake heavy into today. Necromancy, that Ephi stuff, man. Right? It says anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord Yahweh. That's why we read the things that are pleasing to the Most High. We was given the things that are pleasing to him. These things are detestable to him. Right? So let's go back to Deuteronomy 7. All right? Deuteronomy chapter 7. Let's get to it in verse 6. It says, for thou art an holy people. You going to that word holy? Let's go into that word holy. Right? Right? We go to that word holy, right? The word is kadosh.
Strong's H, 6918. Kadosh. Kadosh.
Kadosh.
Second entry. Kadosh. Kadosh.
Right? So kadosh, right? It says sacred, holy, holy one, saint, or set apart. Right? So we're people set apart. How? Right? Because we were given the laws and commandments. We're gonna hold that. We're gonna come back to that. Let's go to Romans. It goes to the book of Romans, chapter 7. Right? Romans chapter 7. And I want to say verse 12. Yeah, verse 12. Right? It says, wherefore the law is holy, right? And the commandment holy and just and good. So, what makes us holy? What makes us set apart? The laws and commandments. The Most High set us apart. We read Deuteronomy 4. Right? This is the wisdom of the nation. Right? They're going to look at that and say, this is a wise and great understanding people. Right? Deuteronomy 7:6, it says, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord Yahweh thy power. The Lord Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all the people that are upon the face of the earth, man. Right? So we were given that laws, we was given those things because, we were chosen, we were set apart from these people. The Most High separated us. Read about in Leviticus chapter 25, or 20 and 25, slightly. Right? Chapter 20, around verse 25. We've been set apart, through what he given us the laws and commandments, right? To walk in the righteous path, that righteous way, because you've seen all the witchcraft and all the things they had going on. But guess what? Right? Jake, right? Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. That's in the Old Testament. Go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, and verse 4. It says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage. This is what Jake did. So he walked off from the fold of following the righteousness of Yahweh Shah, following the leaders, the righteous, Jake walked off from that righteous leadership from Yahweh Shah and discontinued from his heritage. What did he do? Start following the leadership of these other nations. Ultimately today, what is Jake doing? These leaders, as I mentioned, you had these leaders or these bugged out camp leaders, right? Then you have Esau Edom as well, who's over it all, right? Who leading people to the destruction, right? Remember they said, he's a son of perdition, right? Leading people straight to destruction. But guess what these camp leaders are pushing? That same mindset that, you got the army command. I don't really know it, but you got the rankings. Basically, like you might have a sergeant like over his soldiers, but then somebody's over him. It's like you have Esau Edom. Do you have these wicked camp leaders of Israel? These hirelings who don't care for the sheep at all, right? They're the sergeants over the soldiers in a sense, and they're leading the soldiers to destruction because they fall out the way of the wicked. Which these other nations got going on. As I mentioned, as you see, right, this thing that going on, this go back, man, the Canaanites, the Egyptians. Then when you go into Babylon had a lot of it going on. Then when you had, I forgot what, I think it was when the Persians, Medo-Persian Empire came and took over Babylon, right? A lot of, some of those like high priests in Babylon who was working that witchcraft, all that wickedness, they fled into Pergamum. Right, so now when you have the Roman Empire come over, guess what? They was keeping those same wicked practices that Babylon had going on. Then we understand today, it's the rise from empire. Guess what? They still doing that witchcraft. They still doing that sorcery. Now they just got it at a high peak with it, man. This place is heavily wicked, right? Then you have these leaders of these camps, right? Who these charges? They taking the information or the direction or the instruction, however you put it in the army. I was trying to speak in the army. Or is it the information, the direction? What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever it is from the head part, like, hey, this is what we got to do, the task, and they take it and they bring it into the sheep, and guess what? And they leading them to air. Most High Christ blessed, Gentiles can be saved. These pastors teaching this Christianity, destroying the people, man, right? Right? So it says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For you have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. Because Jake chose the way of the heathen. Let's go here. Jeremiah 10:2. I'll start at 1. It says, hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. This is the Lord Yahweh. Learn not the way of the heathen when it's talking about other nations, right? And be not dismayed of the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Verse 2 in the NLT. This is what the Lord Yahweh says, right? Do not act like the other nations, right? Who try to read their future in the stars. Do not be afraid of their predictions, even though other nations are terrified by them, right? It says, for the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth the tree out of the forest and the work of hands of the workman with the axe, right? Verse 3 in the NLT says, their ways are futile and foolish. They cut down a tree, and the craftsman carves an idol, man. Right? Futile and foolish goes to that word futile. Right? Is it gonna come up? I don't know this the word. Nah, that ain't the word. I probably can't get it in there. I know what I can do though. Just do it like this, like you. Right? Fruitless, incapable of producing any useful result, or pointless. Well, the scripture speak about Jake takes out the thing is not profitable to them. That's great. I know this in Jeremiah. Profitable. Oh, I should put no profit. Right. Right? Right here, Jeremiah 2:11. It reads, it says, hath the nation changed their powers or their gods, which are yet no gods, but my people have changed their glory for that which doeth no profit. Why? Because Jake chose the way of the heathen. He was dismayed at the way of the heathen. He was loving the way of it. He fell in love with it. Right? He started following after them, letting them lead him. And guess what? They been leading them to what? Nothing but no profit. Lead them right to destruction, man. Lead them right to be destroyed. Then you got these leaders, right, who are following out the ways of these wicked people. Right, well, let's go to Psalms real quick. I was going to grab this, Psalms 82. Right, because this goes back to that serpent that was cursed in the garden when Most High said, dust shall eat all your days. That dust represents confusion. Like, if you throw dust in your eyes, you can't see, you lost. When he spiritually understand it, Esau's confused. Esau don't even know he's been controlled by Yahweh Shem. So he thinking that he's big, bad, bright, and possible. He doing everything with his own power, own nation. No, he don't even understand Yahweh Shem's control. That's why he try to put himself above Yahweh Shem. They lie to you, oh, this a God-fearing country. Nah, man. These damn devils think they more than what they is. Like the Most High going to destroy it. And what they doing, you have these people, these leaders, and these people that's following them. They're letting them lead them, you know. Their shepherds is not the shepherds of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? The true apostles, true prophets, the true men of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They leaders are what? These wicked guys, these wicked leaders in Israel, and also even higher up. Esau, you know, they trust in Esau, they trust in his instruction, his direction, his ways, man, which is leading them to error, which they strive from at no profit. This is Psalm 82, verse 5. It says, they know not, neither will they understand. It's talking about Esau, Edom, right? You know, because they'll never be able to understand the truth and understand that we have through the Spirit, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Yeah, they might know some little thing, but they'll never be able to know the true righteousness, to walk in that righteous path, walking that righteous way. Lead you to something that's profitable, lead you to something to eternal life. Esau doesn't know that. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have the way of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Most I said, what? He revealed his secrets to his prophets. They're not the prophets. I remember this video one time, the Apostle Har was reacting to it, right? This guy was saying, bro, the true prophets are these guys who building the hospitals, who doing these type of things. These guys are bugged out, man. You know, their leaders are what these elites, those rich people. People look up to. You know, they want to have that meal with Jay-Z. They want to have that. They want to sit down and talk to Bill Gates. They want to talk to Elon Musk. They follow after those guys' path. They love that way, and it wasn't leading them to nothing with no profit. It's leading them to error. It's leading them to destruction, man. So they know not, neither will they understand, because they'll never be able to understand. The knowledge, understanding, even get close to Yahweh Shem Yahushua that we've been blessed with. Yeah, He gives us laws, commandments, and we broke that covenant with that. So guess what? The Heavenly Father sent His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, to redeem us and bring us back in, right? You know, the Most High giving us chances. Jake still what? Jake still choosing the way of people who know nothing, right? These leaders who cause them the error. It says they walk on in darkness. That's the lie, the deceit, the confusion. They're lost. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're seeing. Scripture speak about that when he's in the dark, he don't know where he's going. Jake is walking behind Esau, you know, in his dark, and they don't know where they're going, leading them right to destruction. Walking in the dark, boom, that thing they hit a wall full of knives, walk straight into it, knife, spit them right in the face, man. Gone, done up, man, cooked. It says all the foundations of the earth are out of course, right? So let's go from there to the book of Isaiah, chapter 3, and verse 12, right? It says, as for my people, children are the oppressors, speaking of Esau, Edom, right? You know, because when you go to that word children, that mean like rank. You go to Job 30:1, speak about how, you know, he says, they were younger than me, had me in derision, because they're under us. Right now they're over us, the rich to the low places, right? Because, you know, it's prophecy to have you fulfilled, right? But they're really beneath us. They're nothing. They're, what's the word? They're base men, low of the low. They're nothing, right? It says, and women rule over them. Why? You know, because Esau done created happy life, happy wife. Right? You know, happy wife. I said happy life, happy wife. Happy wife, happy life. And then created this European lifestyle that Jake followed. Jake followed this way. That's why I titled again, they leaders cause them to err. And these pastors, these preachers, these wicked camp leaders, they're pushing that direction of what Esau Edom pushing. That's why I gave the analogy earlier, how you might have a sergeant over his soldier, then you got the head guy in command who's giving the sergeant the directions, or the I can't think of this word, man. Give the task to the soldiers, you know, get information to the soldiers, you know, right? It's killing me. I can't think of this word. Giving the command. We just use that. Giving the command to the sergeant, and then the sergeant command to the soldier. Give the command to the soldier, right? That's how it's working, right? You know. That wickedness, man. These camp leaders sold out. Gentiles can be saved. Nah, when this scripture is referring to Gentiles as being saved or brought back in, or, you know, coming into the kingdom, speak about them, speaking about who, right? The Israelite foreigners who lost their way, who chose the way of these leaders of the other nations, right? Not talking about other nations, man. Other nations can't come in. You know, the other nations, man. Most High was never dealing with them. I have dealt so with no other nation. You know, there's no supersessionism, right? There's none of that. The promise and everything always stood with the Israelites, man. But that's for another day, right? That's part of what these leaders are called them to air. These pastors are pushing this bullshit. Excuse my language. Pushing this bull crap. pushing all this wickedness and darkness, and Jake is following it. And where these pastors or these leaders get it from? Who you think they get it from? The head in command. Esau, Edom, they're following their way. They letting them lead them right to destruction. Right? It says, "Oh my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err." As it said, ultimately, this you have Esau, Edom, who's in charge of it all, but then you have what? These pastors or these sellouts and these camp leaders who follow after them as well. And they're leading the flock to the slaughter. They're leading the flock to be destroyed. Those hirelings, right? Those apostates, right? They're leading the flock to be destroyed. Because why? They ultimately follow the way of who? The wickedness of this world. That's why the true men, how about Shion Shah, what it says, they love not the world nor anything in it. Esau, Edom can't tell us nothing. We ain't trying to hear it. We don't want to hear about it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want nothing to do with it. It's okay. Do what you got to do. Right? But you have these wicked camp leaders or these wicked people who's pushing that, right? Who's walking in that way, walking in that darkness with Esau, Edom, and going to be destroyed with them as well. Right? It said, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy path. Right? Verse 12 NLT, childish leaders oppress my people, and women rule over them. Oh, my people, your leaders mislead you. They send you down the wrong road, man. They lead you to err. They send you down, they lead you down the wrong road. You asking them for direction, they lead you right into the wrong turn. Some of the Aqua, whoever come across the video, probably seen the movie Wrong Turn. When I was young, that was a popular movie, like a popular scary movie. Wrong Turn, they make the wrong turn, they come across these crazy people in the woods, right? I ain't watched the movie in years, but that's the path they're giving these leaders in this world today are giving you. You don't want the leaders of the world. You want leaders of Yahweh Shah, the men who have those watchmen who Yahweh Shah appointed to watch over the flock, watch over the sheep, the shepherds, man. Peter talked about it in 1 Peter chapter 5. Also, it speaks about it in Ezekiel chapter 33, Ezekiel chapter 3, right, 3 and 17, right? No, Most High set up a watchman, right? But you're not following the watchman. How about you? You following the leaders of this world, of this place, man, which are calling you the air, right? So, got another quick piece of real fast, and I go to the one that sparked me and do this lesson. Let's go to Malachi chapter 2, right? Or is it? There's 3, Malachi 3. Micah 2. It's like Micah 3. Yeah, Micah 3 and 1. Right? I said, hear, I pray you, O heads of Jacob, and ye prince of the house of Israel. Is it not for you to know judgment? That's what it says in NLT. I said, listen, you leaders of Israel. You are supposed to know right from wrong, man. But guess what? These people are taking the bad. They're selling out. You got a IUICO, they're calling it the name's Most High, Christ blessed. Now you got I think this Genesis group that teaching Gentiles can be saved. Now they crossing out the name, Yahweh Shah, putting JC, right? Because why? They're selling out. They're taking orders from their command and bringing it down to the sheep, destroying them, leading them all to destruction, right? But ultimately, guess what? They the ones supposed to know right from wrong. They supposed to be leaders. These are our nation, right? These people are of our nation. But you have those ones who try to take some of the flock and follow them for greed, for lust, and those things. That's how Esau want everybody under him so he can work his NWO, push his whole plan, push his whole agenda. Which is ultimately going to be, they might achieve it, but it's going to be short-lived. They're going to be destroyed. You're going to be destroyed with them, following them. They leading you to error, leading to destruction, man. Right? For the sake of time, because I got to head out. Right? I go to the book of Zechariah, chapter 10. And the elder brought this lesson out, which is probably do this lesson, right? So this is Zechariah 10. I started verse 2. Says, for the idols have spoken vanity, and diviners have seen a lie. As a matter of fact, I got some notes right here I want to read on as well. Bear with me. I went to chapter 3 on. All right. It's like you're real fast. Right. But it says Zechariah 10, started verse 2. It says, for the idols have spoken vanity, and the diviners have seen a lie. They have told false dreams. They comfort in vain. Therefore they went their way as a flock. They are troubled because there was no shepherd. Ways the other nations looking to these false gods, what they do today, calling on JC, calling on Allah calls on these false idols that these other nations created. Ultimately, Esau, Edom created Christianity, he created Islam, but it backfired on him. These are the idols they're looking at too. They have all these guys they worship, right? You know, these pantheons, you have these guys they're worshiping things that such. I remember I was watching the brothers doing the count. Bishop Sakaran was speaking about, or the elder apostle doing the count. Bishop Sakaran was speaking about how I think they said something about they're trying to bring back the pantheon with the Greeks, something like that. You know, these are guys that these people followed, and Jake went and followed those guys with him and let those leaders lead them. And you have these leaders today who are supposed to be leaders of our nation or our people, right? Who are following that way, who are taking that way from the wicked Esau, Edom, and following that way, right? Pushing it in our nation, man, right? You know, there was no shepherd, right? So what it says in verse 3, it says, my anger was kindled against the shepherds. What was those? The leaders, man. You're supposed to lead the sheep the right way, but they leading the sheep to slaughter. It says, I punished the goats, for the Lord Yahweh of hosts has visited his flock, the house of Judah, to be the head tribe, right? You know, Judah's the head tribe, and made them as his goodly horse in a battle, right? You know, but that's the point I want right there. Verse 3, we'll go to the NLT. Verse 3 says, my anger burns against your shepherd. I will punish these leaders, right? You know, right? You know, he will punish the leaders because why? They lead in the air. That's why Matthew, Yahweh, he cussed out wicked scribes and Pharisees. Right, we'll just go to it right here. So I got to 23 and 15, right? It says, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourself. They destroying people way more than what they do, what they brought out in, because they post no right from wrong, you know, right? So back to Zechariah 10 and 3 one time in NLT, it says, my anger burns against your shepherds, and I will punish these leaders, man. For the Lord Yahweh of heaven armies has arrived to look after Judah, his flock. He will make them strong and glorious like a proud war horse in the battle. Right? But you see it, man. Right? You know, you see it. You know, you see it, man. Most High is going to punish the leaders because why these leaders call you the air, man. Right? So, Lord willing, right? Holy lessons edifying and exalting through the spirit and power Yahweh Shem Shah. You know, only all honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the hopefully elect, starting with the 144,000. Shalom.